Martin, I gotta tell you, I'm so excited to be here at the home of Dave Pelz and his backyard. I can't wait to check that out.
You're excited. If I get in there, I may never come out. David
Here's the man
Pelz,
himself.
Pelzy boy.
Hi, Dave.
Welcome.
Thanks for having us.
Humble abode and the Pelz Ranch.
I want to
We're
come
ready
and
to check
play
it
in
out.
your back garden.
Yes,
Let's
we do,
go.
right?
Let's see it. I've
go
heard
hit some
so
shots.
much about. Oh my
Wow.
goodness
Look at this
gracious
view.
me!
Oh my goodness, look at this view. This is amazing, Dave.
Astonishing.
This
Wow.
is this golfer's dream
Yes, it
backyard. And I want you to
We've
experience
been greeted with the wedge,
that
yeah?
20 seconds. I got your
Okay.
clubs through the mail. Come in 20 seconds. I want balls
Oh my
in the
goodness,
air.
no pressure,
Oh my
Martin.
goodness gracious me! No pressure.
Time to
No
hit a shot
pressure.
already.
Good
Working
Lord,
on
no
the way.
practice swings, no pressure.
It's taking
Are
us
you
all
up for
in.
this, Blair O'Neill? I'll count us down.
Okay, you count
Are
us
you
down.
ready?
Almost. Okay,
Good to go?
ready?
Okay, 3, 2, 1.
Be good.
Oh,
Oh,
I think
yeah,
we'd take
Martin.
those.
Good shots there.
Thank
we'll take
you
that for the
very
beginning of
much.
the show, right?
He is
Very nice, very
Wedge
nice.
week.
Welcome to the Pelz Ranch.
Thanks for having us.
I want to teach our viewers the importance of the wedge game and how to improve their own ability to score.
We're gonna do that right here. This is the place.
This is Wedge Week.
Looking forward to it.
Okay.
School of Golf, driven by Kia. Wedge Week kickoff.
Welcome to a special edition of School of Golf from the Pelz Ranch here in Austin, Texas. The breathtaking short game home of Dave Pelz, featuring replica greens from Augusta National, Pebble Beach, and St. Andrews. How good is this?
It doesn't get any better, Dave Pelz. Thank you so much for opening the doors and letting me come and play in your back garden. This is amazing.
Thank you, Martin and Blair. It's a wonderful thing to live on golf. I don't live on a golf course. I live on golf. Anytime, as you've just seen walking through the door, you can come out here and get a few shots airborne or hit a few putts. It's the dream of my lifetime.
We're looking forward to it. It's Wedge Week here on Golf Channel, and we're gonna raise your wedge IQ. We're gonna teach you how to hit better wedge shots, how to understand the strategy of the short game, and how to understand wedge technology, right?
Dave, you've made a study, a lifetime study of the short game, influenced so many people, top professionals, amateurs, teachers such as myself. You've got a wonderful example here of why the short game is so important. So if you would explain why we've got so many golf balls on the ground in front of us, please.
Well, this is just a result of some of our research. We found that if you shoot 96, which our average golfer is around 95, 96, this is 96 golf balls. And if you never thought about it, you don't realize 40 of those are going to be putts. That's this putter right here with one club for 41 shots. You're going to hit about 19 wedges among your wedges, however many you have. You're going to hit about 14 iron shots, fewer than any other pile, and about 21 woods. You're going to drive it off 14. You're going to hit second fairway woods on par 5s. You're going to have a long par 4, and those two are damage control. We don't know what club you're going to hit or what swing you're going to use, but every once in a while,
A couple bonus shots thrown in there, yeah?
But the point is, if you want to improve, if you want to lower your scores, this is the way the game is played. Now, the interesting part is, that's the long game. 5, 6, 7, 8 clubs for 14 shots, 3 clubs for 21 shots. This is the short game, the wedge game and putting. Learn to hit these 3 clubs and those 19 shots close to the pin. If you get them close and one putt them, you can lose 19 strokes over here. Just take them off your game.
There you go.
If you could hole them all, if you could hit them perfect,
That would be nice.
you'd remove 41 putts. So, you know, I know you can't do that, but what I want to do is show you now for the rest of the show, we're going to concentrate on the wedge game. How do you get this game better so this game improves without doing anything, and the rest of it lowers your score?
Sounds good.
Well, Dave, it's School of Golf. We have a tradition on School of Golf. We always have a lesson plan. So what is our lesson plan for this incredible outdoor show? We're going to talk, well, Dave's going to tell us how to control the distance of shots because they're not all the same distance. We're going to talk about how to put spin on the ball. You know, the way the pros make it just sit down like an old dog by the fire. And we're going to talk about the high shot. Maybe not the super high shot, but the high shot. So, without further ado, let's get over there and get at it.
Let's do some wedge mechanics.
Now, Dave, I'm going to have you hit some to start with here. So we've got you, well, you've given yourself a rather nasty looking shot, I have to say. So, talk us through it, Mr. Pelz, please.
All right. Well, how you swing the club, how you hit the shot is about half of the battle. So, ball position is the first part of wedge mechanics. If you don't have the ball in the right place, look, this is the middle of my stance. If I have my feet square to the camera and I have this little pointer right down in the middle and then I flare my left toe, it looks like it's back a little, but it's really in the center of my stance. All right, if I make a perfect wedge swing, then the ball position will allow me to hit a perfect shot. Look, if the ball were up here on your left toe and you made a perfect swing, you'd miss it. You'd hit the bottom of my arc is right there because as I turn, the bottom moves forward from the center of my stance to right there. I want to hit the ball, the real ball, just 2 inches before the bottom of my arc. That's the perfect wedge mechanical situation. Now look, if I was really going to hit this shot, I would address it and then I would think a couple of thoughts. No coil. I don't want any power on this shot. It's a fundamental of the proper wedge swing. I want to take my waist here, my chest, I want to move them together. I want to go back shorter, through further, so that I have automatic, natural acceleration without hitting at the ball. Never hit at the ball. You just swing the wedge back and through. And the last thing, if you drew a line between the ball and your sternum, that is a line which if you just extended and broadened the line, it's a plane. This club head is going to stay on that plane the entire time. The back of my left hand is pointing perpendicular to that plane as soon as I get the wedge just under waist high. And it goes from there to exactly the opposite. Now the back of my hand is pointing into the plane. If you can remember those fundamentals, it makes the wedge swing pretty simple.
Dave, can I just ask you a question
Sure.
there? So a statistician, a rocket scientist, that's your background. A statistician, the ball position, very important. What percentage, the 96 shooter we were talking about over there, what percentage of players would actually have the ball in the correct position, do you think?
10%.
10%?
Yeah, honestly, because most golfers have heard from their buddies, they take lesson from their buddies instead of the real knowledgeable people. If you want to hit it high, move it forward because that will increase the loft of the wedge. It also increases your odds of hitting behind it, which most people do. They hit behind their wedge and then after about 3 or 4 fat ones, they scull the next one trying to not hit it fat. But you see, if I put the ball there, of course, if I somehow managed to hit it without breaking down, it would go higher. The problem is you hit it fat. If I want to hit a high ball, all I do is I move my center over here and I open the club face, but I still keep the ball in the center of my stance. I swing my natural with the shoulders across it and I cut it, and we're going to show you that shot later in the show. But not very many people have the ball truly in the center of their stance. See, when I put it in the center, if that's truly between my ankles, and then I put my left foot, flare it towards the target so my hips can turn easily, I don't have the driver impact. I mean the driver influence of rotating. You got to rotate your body in the wedge swing. Move through. That foot lets you move without resistance. So let me just do one. Okay.
That was very nice for your first shot of the day.
First shot of the day. I didn't even get a warm up.
We'll take
This
it.
guy's tough. He wouldn't even let me warm up. But anyway, Blair, come on over.
All right. Now I get to hit my first shot of the day, yeah?
Our choice here now is,
Okay.
do you want to fly to that pin and stop it? Do you want to bounce one hop it onto the top, or do you want to hit it just 10 feet on the green and roll it all the way up that terrace?
I'm going to take the second option, bounce it up there, one hop, and let it roll up right by the pin.
Okay, what she cannot do now is make a great wedge swing and hit the shot and it lands right in the terrace and it goes nowhere. So you want a 56 wedge, try it.
Dave, as the mechanics of the golf beautifully described there, what do you think about what Blair's doing now in the field of play? A couple of practice swings, a couple of real rehearsals?
I got to get a couple rehearsals at least.
Absolutely. Listen, in fact, Every drive is off a dead flat level tee. That's golf. All your drives are the same. Most of your full iron shots, those 14 full iron shots, you practice them on level tees all the time. They're the same. You don't need practice swings. Here, every short game shot you hit in a round of golf is different. You never hit the same shot twice. You've got to have a good practice swing, a realistic practice swing, so that when you are right here on the follow through of the practice swing, your mind's eye, you feel, okay, that's going to land where I'm looking. It's going to result in the kind of shot she just picked. She's going to one hop, going to land it on the green, hop up top, bite, and be next to the pin.
No
Dave,
pressure, guys.
Dave, can I just have you come over here just so we can get a nice down the line of Blair hitting this shot?
All right.
So a couple of practice swings.
You've got all the practice swings.
There was a fourth option, you know. The fourth option is me. You just stand here and you just watch. I'm taking the fourth option.
All right, so I got the ball in the middle of my stance.
Hang on a second, Blair. Do you think that ball was actually in the middle of the stance, or was she sneaking that forward?
She snuck it forward.
You little sneak, you.
I'm bad. Okay.
Yeah.
See, most
yeah.
people just look at their toes.
Yes.
Well, now look. Now wait, Blair. Just, yeah, if you square that foot up, you were
center.
a little forward. Now do it. Now, to you, it looks a little back.
Correct.
But it's okay.
Correct. Okay.
Now it's in the middle.
Do you see how we look after you, Blair O'Neill?
Right, they're just taking care of me.
Yes, we are.
All right, here we go.
That was certainly hit, but it's nicely hit, but it's going to take a bit of calibrating.
Going to take a couple practice balls.
And obviously it takes a lot of practice, Dave, but so the short game, getting the mechanics right, getting the ball position right, understanding the swing plane, and having some practice, all very, very important. But we've got a lot more to come yet on this wedge show, haven't we, Blair?
We do. Thanks so much, Dave, for helping me. I'm going to work on that wedge shot a little bit more.
See, you know, the truth is, the reason I built this backyard, I mean, it's crazy to do this. Not very many golfers in their right minds would build this.
That is true, I would say so.
But it's my life. It's been my life for 40 years. I want to come out here and I want to perfect it. And the pros that I have coming here, they want to perfect it. Now, if you hit that shot, let's say just 100, would take you about 15 minutes. You could hit 100 of those shots. What if you did that every day for 6 months?
My wedge game,
imagine how good
would it be, right?
They can stand there. Phil can stand right there, and he has done it, believe me. He stays in Arcasita during the Dell match play. He makes this little wedge swing, and he can land it in a spot about this big up there. Now, he chooses the shot, and he chooses the easiest shot among the three. Right. Based on his own experience. But he's done it a couple of million times. So he knows how far that ball is going to fly. Right. And that's the first fundamental of wedge mechanics, is be able to fly the ball the right distance.
You got to get the reps in, right, Dave?
You got to get the reps in.
Well, you've got the perfect facility to do it here. All right, do you at home understand the anatomy of a wedge shot? Well, where to land it and how far it will roll out, a visual demonstration is next. Plus distance control, Dave Pelz will teach you how he's dialed in wedge distances for his top players for so many years. And later, the super high shot, how to execute the shot under pressure, and the backstory of this famous Phil flop.
Wedge Week continues here on Golf Channel. We are, of course, at the Pelz Ranch in Austin, Texas, and you're going to talk about the anatomy of a wedge shot, the sort of the second part of what happened. So dig in, Dave, dig in.
Well, Martin, in our schools, I find most golfers worry about hitting the wedge. They worry about getting it airborne, where the ball position is. All the wedge mechanics we just reviewed from right here a few minutes ago. But there's a whole nother world of wedge play. Assuming you can make good contact, you can launch the ball on the trajectory you want to and carry it the distance you want to, the question is, what's the ball going to do after it hits the green? That's just as important. Look, if you make a good driver swing, you'll see a pretty good drive most of the time, unless there's an incredibly high wind. If you hit a good 8-iron swing, if you make the motion, you see good 8-iron shots and they stop pretty quick and you don't really care how they move on the green. You're on the green, you got a putt. That's pretty good 8-iron. Okay. That is not true with a wedge. You can put a perfect move on a wedge and it can hit once, bounce, roll over the back of the green, down the hill into the creek, and you make triple bogey. Hitting the wedge shot is only half the battle. The other half is how high are you going to hit it. In other words, you have to read the shot, how it's going to move on the green. That's the real second half of the question in wedge play. How high are you going to hit it? How far are you going to carry it, and how much spin is it going to have? I happen to know, these are my greens. My son built them. They are built to be firm and fast. So the ball will not dig in, it will bounce once. If it has really good backspin, it'll check. If it doesn't have real good backspin, it'll dribble on and roll. If it doesn't have good backspin at all, if you've hit it at all fat, it's going to roll over the green. Just like real golf courses, real greens the pros play. Now my greens are small. They require good wedge shots because that's why I built them, to improve my own wedge game. But the point is, I want you to stand here and look at this. I've got water. I can't use a run-up shot. I can either cut a shot with a lot of backspin, hit it on top and stop it, or I can bounce once short of that terrace, bounce on top and roll to the pin. I can hit the ball about 10 feet on the green, 8 or 10 feet, let it bounce 2 or 3 times, and then roll up the hill. Now, I can't do all that with the same wedge. I mean, I could, but it's way difficult to hit all those shots with one club. I use my 60, open the blade a little bit, try to fly it on top and stop it. Now, to me, that's the hardest shot of these 3, because I have to really hit it good. Next easiest is the one hopper. Now, a lot of pros love that. They like to just make sure it's short of the terrace. If it hops twice, it still goes to the top and they'll be a little short, but the other shot is a 52-degree wedge. Just land it on the green and it'll get there. So part of your wedge play is learning how to hit wedge shots. Another part is learning how to choose the easiest wedge shot that you can have, the most likely for you to make a good result, by making the second half of this easier. Look, here's the tough one. I'll loft a little 60-degree wedge up.
Well, that was nice.
That wasn't bad, but, but let me try a 56. Now this, I think, is a far easier shot, but if I do the 56 just right, it's going to hit just short of that terrace and hop up. Hit it a little bit low, but the easiest shot, I think, because I've hit these, I don't know, I've hit 180,000 wedges.
Is that all?
I keep track from my deck. Out here, not anywhere near that many on any one spot, but here I've hit a few.
So which wedge is this, Dave?
This is 52, and I'm just going to try to land it 10 feet on the green and let it run. Just let it run almost like the last one, except a little bit better. Now see, that just rolls up, and that one can't be very bad. Now Martin, I want you to try it. Which in your mind is easiest?
I'm going to go for the middle one with the 56-degree wedge, sort of the lowish flighted one. I never go for the highest one unless I absolutely have to. I'm also going to try something that I've observed there watching you. It appears to me that you hold that club fairly lightly. You certainly haven't got a grip vise on it, have you?
As light as I can. Just let me pull this. It should slide, but it shouldn't flop. If that grip was a banana, you don't squeeze a banana, but you hold it. You have to hold on. The hands are to hold on. They're not to manipulate.
Right, I'm going with the banana. The banana pitch. You know, I'll tell you what, it's a heck of a lot harder when you get over here. It was easier standing over there than looking over here. There's not a lot of green to work with, so I've got the 56. I always like the sort of the lower shot if I can. Going with the 56 here. I'll take that.
Martin, you win, my man.
Well, I don't know about I win.
Very nice.
I would say I'm happy with the outcome on that one. So you can see there very definitely, it's not just the act of hitting the shot, it's seeing the sort of the outcome of the shot when it hits the ground. Very, very sage advice from the short game guru here. Right now, it's back to Blair.
When we return on Wedge Week, how to hit your wedge the perfect distance and how much does the length of the swing determine distance. Don't go anywhere. When we come back, we're going to show you how to have more feel with your wedge.
Welcome back to Wedge Week kickoff here on School of Golf. We're at the Pelz Ranch in Austin, Texas. We've changed targets. Dave, we've got a 10, a 20, a 30, a 40-yard target. We know that a lot of amateurs find judging distance really difficult. Help them, Dave, help them.
Okay, here's what I believe you have to do. If you're going to be a good wedge player, you have to learn to carry the ball the right distance. First, you learn some wedge mechanics. Be able to get the club from here to here with a wedge just kissing the ground. Then you work on turning your body and your shoulders together so that you can get a little rhythm. If everything's synchronized and moves together, you can get rhythm. And then, with my rhythm, my Dave Pelz rhythm, I can learn to hit balls different distances based on the length of my backswing. Now look, if you don't have good mechanics or you're hitting some of the shots with your hands and others without your hands, I don't use any hands in my wedge swing. I take it back and through, and the length of the backswing determines the length of the carry. Honestly, watch this. This is a 60 degree wedge. I've got a little swing like this that I have calibrated for that 10-yard target there. If I do it right, with my rhythm, I should hit the little silver disc. That's an eagle, -2. If I hit the flat area around it, that's a -1 because that's better than the average tour professional. If I hit the volcano, the deep green, it'll bounce crazy, and that's a par. In the sand is a bogey, and if you miss outside the sand, it's a double bogey. Look, that was a 10-yard swing. This is my 20-yard swing. That was a birdie.
So Dave, what we're saying is really you're altering the distance with the length of the swing, not conscious speed of the swing, not deliberately speeding it up.
Right. In fact, the most important point, Martin, is I'm not hitting these wedge shots. How hard should I hit this? Oh, when you're scared, your muscles are so much stronger. If it feels the same, it's going way farther. That's why people play so poorly under pressure. Under pressure, what I'm trying to do is make the same rhythm. What I do is I make my practice swing. And of course, I'm not scared in my practice swing, no matter how much money I'm playing. Sometimes I play for my house.
Really?
And anyway, if you want to take the pressure out of it, you learn this. Now look, I'm going to come right here, and I'm going 30 yards. I'm going to hit this thing 30 yards. Now, if I gunch it or do something weird, it won't go 30, but get down. Oh, just over.
I think it's fair to say, though, Dave, that the viewers should know at home, even someone who's hit thousands of wedge shots such as you have, even when Phil Mickelson is here, the calibration station, if we might call it that is an everyday for the rest of your life deal, isn't it?
Martin, I come out of the house. If I'm going to putt, I go putt. If I come out of the house and I'm going to hit wedges, I do a simple game of 12 here. I go 10, 20, 30, 40, 40, 30, 20, 10, one ball to each one, so that I have to take a practice swing. See, that was pretty good for 40. I know, I've learned the feeling. That's not bad for 40. I do 12 balls, I get a score, and I've got a record. Phil's got a record. Every pro I've had here has their own record on this game. It's a game of 12 shots, takes 3 minutes, not a big deal. But if you do this first, then everywhere else you go on our facility, doesn't matter what shots you hit to what green, you know about where to start, and then you just look at it and feel it until your practice swing feels perfect, then do it.
Let's see the 40-yard one now, Dave, just
Here's
to finish
45.
off.
Here's
so
40
there's a
yards.
10, a 20, a 30, and a 40.
All right, this may hit the bullseye.
I think what's interesting there, Dave, is that someone who's studied it their whole life like you, Phil Mickelson, and the many great players you've played with, nobody owns this without making payments every week on it, do they?
When you take a little time off, like I have had to, it degrades, and then the first thing you do before you go play seriously, you work on this, you spiff it up, get your short game strong. You can play a lot of golf if you've got a good short game.
So as I've heard Dave Pelz say many times, practice makes permanent.
Permanent. Not perfect, permanent. Perfect practice makes perfect.
Thank you, Dave. Right now, over to Blair.
When our Wedge Week returns with Dave Pelz, we're going to teach you how to add spin and how to control it. Then later, add the flop shot to your game just like Phil Mickelson. School of Golf returns to Texas after this. It's Wedge Week on Golf Channel, and we are pleased to be broadcasting School of Golf from Dave Pelz' home here in Austin, Texas, where we have multiple greens and tees to really get our wedges dialed in. But first, let's recap what we've learned tonight. Dave Pelz taught us the fundamental to the 15-yard pitch shot. We also learned about the anatomy of every single wedge shot, and we also learned how to add or subtract distance to wedge shots. Still ahead, we get in the bunker to learn what to do and what not to do out of the sand, plus the secret to the flop shot. But first, let's send it over to Martin and Dave to learn the secret to spin.
Thank you, Blair. Dave, we're talking spin. I want everything you know about spin. Different lies, go to it, my boy.
All right. We are on my replica of the 13th at Augusta National. We've got Rays Creek running down the left side. I've laid up, it's the last 70 yards of that hole here in my backyard, but the green, I've got 3 pin positions marked on the left side of the green, left of the big terrace. And not a difficult pitch shot, simple in fact, but if you don't know how much backspin you're going to have going to pin 2, that's where I'm going to try to hit these shots, you really won't know where the ball's going to end up. Look, I'm standing here with this lie, Rays Creek running in front. I don't want to mess with that creek. I want to fly the ball maybe somewhere between pin 1 and pin 2, halfway sort of. But if I've got the lie in the rough, I'm going to say it's not going to have a lot of backspin. And if I did not think about that, and I flew a pretty good shot out of the rough, I'm going to try to do one here. Now I'm trying to hit it about 30 yards in the air between pin 1 and pin 2.
I see exactly what you mean there, Dave. Coming out of the rough about 1.5 inches, somewhat like Augusta. That ball did not grip. It's not going to grip out of the rough. It's gone probably 20 feet past the hole.
So no matter what my wedge swing, Martin, when I have grass between the club face and the ball, you're not going to get backspin. I don't care how good the grooves are. Now, I've got good grooves here, but watch this. I put the ball about the same lie in the rough. I happen to have my little handy-dandy wet rough spray. Now, there is not a dry blade of grass there. Of course, in Texas, I have to hit it pretty quick, or it will dry. Okay, now I'm going to land this just a hair shorter. You might have even seen the water spray.
Well, now we've even got more run on the ball. Not only is it out of the rough, now it's out of the wet rough, even though the technique was good. So it's going to bound its way past that flagstick.
Exactly. Okay, now, a much simpler shot. This is a 60-degree wedge, same club, off a fairway lie, and it's a nice fairway lie, but it does get a tiny little bit of grass between the club and the ball. Now that one is just past pin 2.
We can see that that one had more spin on it, certainly more than out of the rough, because of the lie. Not because of the technique, was it?
No, not at all. I mean, I hit the ball solidly. I did get a little grass between the ball and the club face, but that's natural. That's what happens on most wedges. Now, tour players really practice a significant amount of wedge time on nipping it. They call it just nipping it, and oh, the TV announcers say, oh, that ball's going to have spin, because most golfers don't realize I've got this ball teed up on a tee 1/4 of an inch above the grass. And watch, I'm going to swing, I'll try to swing the same swing, and watch the difference in spin when there is no grass in between the club face and the ball.
Now that one stopped a lot quicker. We could hear it, we could see it. So what you're telling me, Dave Pelz, and what the viewers at home should be learning is this: no matter how good your technique, the lie of the ball will determine what's possible, even for Phil Mickelson and all those great players you've worked with.
Listen, the ball and the club face don't care who's swinging the club. If you get grass between those two, you're not going to have backspin. If you learn how to clip it, you can maximize the backspin. So with the same swing, I'm hitting the ball 20, 25 feet different on the green simply because I just had 4 different lies here. And if you don't know the lie before you swing a wedge, you're probably not going to have a very good result. You have to be lucky to get it close.
Fascinating stuff it has been all day. Now we're going from the grass into the sand in a moment here at the Pelz Ranch, where you do get something between the ball and the club face, but, well, you'll just have to wait when we come back and see what that actually does to the golf ball, won't you?
Oh, that's good.
That is very nice.
Right
it's
there.
wedge week here. We're with Dave Pelz, Austin, Texas. We're in the bunker. Dave, good luck. Try and make that better if you would, please.
We can always improve.
Blair, we can always improve, and especially our viewers, if they understand what you're doing. She just hit a shot with a real golf ball out of real sand. Right next to her, I've already set up, there's a bunker board. It won't let you dig, and what all the amateurs do is they dig and they get scared of the sand and all that. If you practice one out of the bunker board, one out of real sand, and do it a few thousand times, you will be a good bunker player.
Okay.
Now watch Blair, she has not practiced off the bunker board, but with a good wedge swing, it's really the same shot, and I want to show you
Okay, so just hit
what
it the
she
same
does.
exact way, right? Same
Same
swing and
backswing,
everything?
same
Okay.
everything.
All right.
Very nice.
Settle. I take
Very
that.
It was nice.
Thank you.
Now, if you went back and forth, but some people can't go back and forth because in their backyard, they can't get to the golf course often enough to practice this. I want to show you a little something we use in our schools all the time. Same sand, it's an almost golf ball. It's really very soft, won't break a car window or dent the fender.
Okay.
Go ahead, same swing.
Same swing
It
here.
launches the same as a real golf ball and it can't break anything. Beautiful. Beautiful.
That bounce right up? Okay.
Well, it's almost the same shot. Now, to make your sand play easier, she just did 3 swings, the same. But now we've got a bunker shot that's 12 feet longer.
So we're taking it back.
We are changing clubs.
Okay.
We are going to keep the
switch.
same swing, and you're going to hit the same sand shot, except now it's going to carry 12 yards further.
Okay, same swing, different club off of this bunker board. Get up there.
She's even playing the break.
Get up there. Ooh, I like it.
Beautiful, beautiful,
All right.
Blair.
I take that.
Now, you go to a 52-degree wedge.
Okay.
That was a 60 Merton, a 56. This is a 52.
52.
And the same wedge swing. We've just shown that off the bunker board in the sand, it's the same. If she uses the same backswing, she will hit the same shot.
Okay, so I'm gonna make the same swing here, different club.
9 o'clock backswing.
9 o'clock backswing. Ooh, it felt good. Sit right there.
Ho!
All right, that was pretty
Oh, it was
close though.
almost
Felt like
perfect.
I hit it well though.
Very
Little
good.
practice at the
Very good.
distance.
Okay, enough of this practice in your own backyard. You can become a great sand player.
Yes, you can. Don't go anywhere because when we come back, Dave Pelz is going to teach us how to hit the flop shot, but his secret on how to hit this high shot, right, Dave?
Okay?
And later in the show, for sure, Dave is going to tell us the most important thing for amateurs to take away from this show.
I was working at the Colonial. Welcome back to the Golf Channel Academy. We're out here at the MasterCard Colonial, and I have caught up with my friend, Phil Mickelson. I think you know Phil. He's one of the great players, truly great players in the world today. And he also happens to be a man, a big man with a wonderful short game. He said, well, here, stand in front of me. He took one step, 3 feet, and he put a ball down, moved me 3 feet in front of him. So I'm standing here. He addresses the ball and he said, now, Pelz, don't move. This is for the Golf Channel. I hope you understand this. And I'm standing here with my eyes bugging, thinking, oh my God, what is going to happen if he mishits this shot? Whap! He hit it. I closed my eyes. I didn't feel any pain. My friend, thank you very much. That was fabulous. At the time, I asked him, well, now listen, that was really neat. My heart was in my throat when I saw your backswing. How many times have you done that before? Swear to God, Phil Mickelson looked me in the eye and said, well, I've never done it over a real person before.
Of course, that was absolutely amazing, listening to Mickelson Magic, the work you've done with Phil, with that super high shot. But for the rest of the world who are not as talented as Phil Mickelson, how can we help the viewers at home hit a higher, softer shot? It's not going to be like Mickelson, but show us the higher, softer shot, please, Dave.
Okay. Well, Martin, you do a lot of teaching. I do a lot of teaching. You know you don't want to teach the hardest shot in the world, the Mickelson flop, to a guy who can't get it airborne. I mean, we've got to be reasonable here. And a high soft shot, not the Mickelson flop, but a high soft shot is not that much different than a normal pitch shot. If you've listened to our 15-yard pitch story, you know how important that is. And the ball is in the middle of your stance, and you take this rhythmic finesse move. To hit it higher and softer, you don't move it forward, because then that makes you hit the ground behind it. What you do is you move your angle so that you're aiming to the left of the pin. Now, I still have the ball in the middle of my stance, but it looks like it's forward. So it will go higher because I will open the face. I'm aiming left, I've opened the face, and now I'm just going to make a normal wedge swing. And it's going to have a lot of backspin, and it's going to carry softly. If I hit another one, I can hit it a little bit higher.
I think it is an interesting thing there, Dave. You aimed left, the ball was in the middle of the stance, but certainly to the camera, it appears to be way forward.
Yes.
But big deal, it's not, is it?
No, I think that's what a lot of people make a mistake. They think that if this was in the center, they think I moved here. I didn't. I moved over here. So I moved around, and the ball appears to be further forward, but if I can just nip this, I can hit a little shot here to a tight pin, and I've got 2 for 2 inside of 4 feet. I can make 4-foot putts. So don't try to hit it that high when you don't need it. Hit it softly. Aim left, keep the ball in the center of your stance, open your blade, and swing a little bit larger, not a lot larger. I didn't take a big swing there. That was just a little pitch shot that's higher than average and softer, way softer than average.
Let me see one more, Dave. Love it.
One more.
So the takeaways here, certainly, the ball is still in the center, although it may appear otherwise. The grip is light, light enough for the wrist to hinge. Synchronized swing. And that one sat down like an old dog by the fire, the old Sam Snead thing, most certainly. Dave, that was great. Now, when we come back, we're going to have you talk about your closing thoughts and perhaps the most important thing for the viewers to take away. Don't go anywhere. Dave Pelz, Short Game Special on School of Golf. Dave, this has been absolutely fantastic being here today. What would be the one thing you want amateur golfers to take away from the time we've had together?
Well, if I had to say one thing, it would be to embrace the short game. Look, it just so happens that in our show, we've just finished hitting shots. There are 20 balls left. Understand, if you're going to shoot in the mid-90s, you're going to have 20 shots with the wedges inside of 100 yards. Embrace that. Now, if you could ask me what I really advise, I'd say, look, we've been teaching what I advise. You have to learn how far to carry your wedge. You have to calibrate your wedge swing with every wedge in your bag. Right. I've got 4 wedges, 3 swings that I know to a yard. I've got 12 clubs in my golf bag, where if on the golf course I get those distances, I know them. All right, how far you carry it and what its trajectory is. All right, then you've got to learn the response on the green, the second half of the shot. You've got to read every shot with every wedge you have and make a practice swing for that shot before you do it. And finally, you've got to understand how much your swing and your wedges and your lofts and your grooves and your face friction, how much spin your wedges put on the ball so you know how quick they're going to stop.
So put in the time to figure it out, right?
Well,
so
it's not the simplest thing in the world, but it may be the most important thing, because those 20 shots can either cost me 2 putts and 3 putts, or they can give me 1 putts. I might hold one occasionally. I can save,
as we've seen,
10 to 20 shots in my round just by embracing the short game.
And so as we finish another show, remember my mission statement. You know what it is, but here it comes again. If you keep on doing what you've been doing, you will keep on getting what you've been getting. Make the effort, make the change. It's so worth it. For Blair O'Neill and Dave Pelz, I'm Martin Hall. We will see you next time. You will be scoring lower. We know. You'll be hitting it closer. We know. But you know what? I'm going to hit one more just before we finish. Thanks for watching, everybody. This has been a blast. Come along, Hawley. Hit one more decent one. There it is.